So 23 siya, and then si diploid is 46. Nasabtan? Now we have here the word germ cells. Si germ cell, it is also known as the sex cells. We have the sperm and the egg, and these are haploid. So yung mga cells na nag-undergo sa meiosis, yun yung mga haploid. So haploid cells are formed by the process meiosis. Si haploid, na-form siya sa process na meiosis. Whereas si diploids naman, nag-undergo siya sa process ng mitosis. Si mitosis, yun yung makabuo siya or makaform siya ng 2 new daughter cells. And then si meiosis, yun yung makaform siya ng new individual or new offspring. So that is haploid. And then si diploid naman, yun yung mag-undergo ng mitosis. So, huwag siyang ibaliktad ha. Si haploid kay sa meiosis, si diploid sa mitosis. Next, we have cells has different functions. One of this is the cell metabolism and energy use. Now, in general, metabolism has two main processes. We have the catabolism and anabolism. Are you familiar with anabolism and catabolism? Diba si catabolism, it is the breaking down of complex molecules into simple, smaller units. Whereas si anabolism naman, siya yung mag-synthesis or mag-create ng mga molecules. So yung mga smaller molecules, iyahang i-create into molecules. So that is parang kabaliktaran sila. Now, si catabolism, it releases energy. Nag-release si catabolism kay mag-release siya ng energy. Whereas si anabolism, siya yung mag-consume or magamit siya ng energy during the process. Now, si glycolysis, si Krebs cycle, and si electron transport chain, saan mo siya nabilog? Anabolism or catabolism? Ano naman siya? Catabolism. It's because, makita niyo sa baba, na siya yung na-produce na energy or the ATP. So that is under catabolism. Again, catabolism, breaking down of complex molecules into smaller units, whereas the anabolism into smaller units, and it releases energy or ATP. Now, si anabolism naman, it is synthesis of molecules and uses energy. Nagagamit siya ng energy para ma-process niya. So that is the difference between catabolism and anabolism. Now, di ba si glycolysis sa mga plants yan siya. Si glycolysis, it is a process of breaking down the glucose to produce the pyruvate and producing ATP. Now, si pyruvate, siya na naman yung gamitin ni Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle is also known as citric acid cycle. So, ang product na naman ng Krebs cycle is gamitin siya sa electron transport chain. And then, it is where, this process, it is where most ATP is produced. Around 36 ATP at ang na-produce during the electron transport chain. So that is, for number 1, the cell metabolism and energy use. Next, we have the synthesis of molecules. We have the macromolecules like proteins, nucleic acids, which is the DNA and the RNA, lipids, fats and oils, carbohydrates, sugars, and starches. So these are the macromolecules. So these molecules has specific functions in which the nucleic acid, it contains the genetic information, which is yung DNA and the RNA. proteins, it is also used for communication, transport, chemical breakdown of substances, and of course, structural support, like what I have mentioned in our last meeting, yung histone protein, diba? It is for structural support. And then we have the lipids, energy storage, protective membrane, and also communication. And lastly, we have the carbohydrates. Again, it is energy storage, structural support, and communication. So these are the functions of these molecules. Next, we have communication. Now, my question is, what cells are used for communication? Ano yung cells na na-involve or na gamitin for communication? Ano yun siya? Based on picture, ano ito siya? Ano ito na illustration? Hindi mo familiar? Ano siya? Neurons or the nerve cell. So what cells are used for communication? That is the nerve cell, or also known as the neurons. So these neurons are the fundamental unit of nervous system. So part siya sa nervous system that is responsible for transmitting information throughout our body. So siya yung mga nag-transmit ng mga information throughout our body. So that is neurons. Then we have the mitosis and reproduction. Si mitosis, di ba? Meron tayong mga stages sa mitosis. Ano yun siya? Yung klima. We have the prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. And then after sa telophase, ano yun siya? Cytokinesis. And then we have the reproduction. So reproduction, it is a formation of new individual or producing new offspring. So that is reproduction. Sometime. Next, we have the composition or cell composition. Now, there are 3 domains of life. Diba? In our high school, na-mention na ang domains of life. We have the archaea, the bacteria, and eukarya. Now, ano yung difference nila? Now, si archaea and bacteria, they are both single-celled organisms. And they are both prokaryotes. When we say prokaryotes, ano bang ibig sabihin ng prokaryotes? These are cells that do not have nucleus. And then we have eukarya. They are unicellular or single-celled organism, and also all multicellular organisms. So those are eukarya or eukaryotes. When we say eukaryotes, these are cells that has nucleus. So yun yung difference ni prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Now, ano yung difference ni archaea and bacteria? Diba both of them are prokaryotes, and then they are also single-celled. Ano yung difference nila? Ano yung difference nila? Anybody? Do you have idea? Ano yung difference ni archaea and bacteria? They differ in their cell wall composition. It's because si archaea, it can thrive or survive in extreme environment. Makasurvive si archaea, bisan pa na super hot or grabe na siya katugnaw or grabe na siya kainit na temperature. So that is archaea. Naay composition si cell wall ni archaea na wala kay bacteria. Kasi si bacteria, dili yung mga bacteria na dili siya makasurvive in extreme or in extreme temperature. So kung si archaea makasurvive siya sa extreme environment, si bacteria kay mag-cause siya ng death kay bacteria. So yun yung difference nila. Si archaea makasurvive siya or makathrive siya sa extreme environment. And then si bacteria naman kay it would be lethal to the most bacteria. So that is the difference. My question. Sometime? Now let's move macromolecules. These are large molecules from the word macro. And then we have micro, it is mga small molecules din siya. Now, under macromolecules, these are the carbohydrates, the lipids, the proteins, and the nucleic acid. Again, the function of these macromolecules, we have the carbohydrates, diba? It is for energy, storage, and then for lipids naman, kay forms the basis of some hormones, and then it is also provide insulation and also store energy, and then proteins for structural support, and the nucleic acid, yun yung mga genetic makeup or genetic information that we have in our body. And then we have the word micro molecules. When we say micro, it is small, and it is consist of the vitamins and the minerals. So these vitamins and minerals, its function is to provide energy production. We have antioxidant defense, DNA synthesis and repair, cellular communication, immune function, and cellular structure and integrity. Now, ito yung mga functions ni vitamins and minerals. So that is why it is very important that we take vitamins once a day, meron kayong mga vitamins, para i-help ang inyong mga immune system to be healthy. Because these vitamins has a health benefits sa atong mga body, and especially to our immune system. So next, we have the inborn errors of metabolism. Now, when we say inborn, anong ibig sabihin ng inborn? Anong ibig sabihin ng inborn? Inborn. Existing from birth. So, meron siya pag-anak sa inyo, ha? Inborn errors of metabolism. So this is a genetic diseases that result from deficient or lack or absent ng mga enzyme and affect the major types of the biomolecules. So now we have the carbohydrates. Dito muna tayo sa carbohydrates. So under carbohydrates, we have the lactase deficiency. Are you familiar with lactase deficiency? Itong lactase deficiency, ito yung mga tao na kapag umiinom sila ng milk, nagkakadiarrhea. Nakadungog naman na. Naitong ay nanadere. Nakainom yung mga kaila. So, itong lactase deficiency, that means wala siyang lactase na enzyme inside her digestive system. Now, we have so this is gastrointestinal tract. So we have here tingin kayo sa illustration. Now we have gastrointestinal tract. So itong dito sa right side. Itong sa right side, ito yung lactose. So lactose, ito yung milk na i-intake mo, for example. And then, si lactase enzyme, ito yung sa normal ha. Ito yung sa may lactase deficiency. Ito yung normal na digestive system. Now, sa normal digestive system, merong lactase enzyme. So, si lactase enzyme, siya yung nag-break down sa lactose. Di ba, pag i-break down si lactose, meron tayo glucose and galactose. So, pag i-add naman si glucose and si galactose, magiging lactose. Now, if mag-intake ka ng milk, si lactase enzyme, siya yung mag-break down kay lactose into glucose and galactose. Now, magkakaroon siya ng normal digestion. So, yun yung normal. However, if meron kang lactase deficiency, that means absent yung lactase sa imuhang digestive system. Now, ito siya. So, you take the lactose or yung milk or fresh milk, ano ba yung iinom mo, and then, since wala si lactase enzyme, walang mag-breakdown kay lactose. So, magkakaroon ka ng diarrhea. So, that is lactase deficiency. Nasaktan. Next. We have the lipids, the familial hypercholesterolemia. So, ang hypercholesterolemia, kay genetic defect siya in the body's ability to metabolize cholesterol properly. So, this causes a very high LDL. When you say LDL, ano ito siya? Low density lipoprotein. So, si low density, kung very high LDL mo or bad cholesterol in your blood, it will lead to a higher risk of heart disease and stroke. So magkaka-stroke ka, ma-stroke ka, or magkakaroon ka ng heart disease if yung LDL mo is very high. Now, when can we say na taas ang imuhang LDL? Now, ito yun siya, level of LDL. High siya if ang imuhang LDL in your body is greater than 160 milligram per deciliter. And then, normal siya if less than 100 milligram per deciliter. So, yun yung range niya. When can we say that you have familial hypercholesterolemia? Nasaktan ba? Klaro? Sige ha, bantay. Magawa siya sa quiz ha. Yung mga additional po na information, maglabas yan siya sa quiz. Next, we have proteins. Si proteins naman, we have maple syrup urine disease or the MSUD. Si MSUD, it causes your urine to have a distinctive sweet smell resembling a maple syrup. That means if makaamoy ka na yung ihi mo kay meron siyang distinctive na smell like kanang sweet, like mura siyang honey ang bako ng imuhang ihi. Kung tamis kayo imuhang ihi, imuhang itilawan siya. Imuhang lang ma-smell siya na tamis siya, then you have to consult with a doctor. And then, this, it's because if you have this maple syrup urine disease, it cannot break down. Meron kasing enzyme, same lang sa lactase deficiency na wala si maple syrup. Now, yung enzyme na yon is si BCCAD. BCCAD. Branch chain alpha keto acid. Wala akong ba naman siya kapagsan. Siya kanya na. Alpha keto acid dehydrogenase. Saan siya? Si BCCAD, branch chain alpha keto acid dehydrogenase. So, siya yung responsible sa breakdown ng amino acid. So, sa maple syrup, wala daw si bisican. Wala daw siya. So, walang mag-breakdown kay leucine, isoleucine, and kay valine. So, that is for maple syrup. Now, si bisican, it is not a single enzyme. Hindi lang siya kung single enzyme. It is a large multi-enzyme complex located in the mitochondria. And it is responsible for the breaking down of branched chain amino acid. But since si maple syrup wala siyang bisican, so dili niya, it cannot break down the branched chain amino acid. So yun siya. Next, we have the Lesch-Nyhan syndrome. Si Lesch-Nyhan syndrome naman, deficiency of the enzyme HGPRT. Si HGPRT, ito naman yung enzyme na wala kay Lesch-Nyhan syndrome. HGPRT stands for hypoxanthine guanine phosphoriboxyl transferase. So ito yung enzyme na wala kay Lesch-Nyhan syndrome. So si Lesch-Nyhan syndrome, siya yung nag-a-absorb ng copper. Siya yung responsible for distributing copper in throughout the body. Now, stop talking please. Now, if wala si HGPRT, instead na i-absorb yung copper, mag-a-accumulate yan siya at magiging uric acid. So, yan yung mga reasons bakit mayroong mga uric acid inside our body. Pero hindi lang yan siya ang one factor. One factor yan lang yan siya. Meron pa mga other factor bakit mayroong maraming mga uric acid inside our body. Nasabtan ba? Sige. Next, we have the biotinidase deficiency. It slows body's use of vitamins biotin. Now, si biotinidase naman, siya yung lack or deficient sa biotinidase na deficiency. Walang biotinidase. Now, si biotinidase, siya yung nagre-recycle kay biotin. Now, si biotin, mali pala ako sa Lesch-Nyhan. Hindi pala yung copper. Ano yun siya? Dili ma-recycle ang purines. So, si purines, ito yung mnemonics niya, pure as gold. So, purine, adenine, and gold is guanine. So, dili ma-recycle dili ma-recycle si purine, it's because wala siyang HGPRT. Now, pag walang HGPRT na mag-recycle kay purine, it will accumulate and convert it into uric acid. Hindi pala siya copper. Kasi copper, dito siya kay Wilson disease. Now, balik tayo kay biotinidase deficiency. si biotinidase, siya yung nagre-recycle kay biotin. In which, si biotin, siya yung biotin, it is a vitamin B7 that plays a crucial role in the metabolism of our carbs, fats, and proteins that supports health in our daily activities. So, if merong biotinidase deficiency, yun lang, biotinidase that recycles the biotin. Nasabtan? Sige, next we have the Wilson disease. So Wilson disease, it is liver could no longer control the excess copper that the digestive tract absorbs from food. So ito siya, ang enzyme naman is yung ATP7B. ATP7B, copper transporting ATPase. Sige, sulatin nyo. ATP7B, copper transporting ATPase. ATP tapos ASE. ATPase. So yun yung enzyme na if merong defect or absent dun ka sa body, the liver could no longer control the excess copper. So merong copper sa ating body which is absorbed galing sa food. If ma-absorb niya and then si ATP7B kay defective siya, so walang mag-a-absorb or walang mag-distribute ng copper inside our body. Now, ang nangyari is it will affect or it will accumulate inside our body and it will affect our organs, especially the brains and our liver. So yun yung maa-apektuhan and other organ system. Again, if defective si ATP7B ay walang mag-a-absorb, walang magpo-control sa excess copper na i-absorb ng atong body sa mga foods na atong gitake. Now, ang nangyari is mag-accumulate yan siya sa body and it will affect our organs, especially the brains and the liver. So that is Wilson disease. So we're done with the inborn diseases. Next we have anatomy of the cell and the cell cycle. Na-discuss ito sa first year ninyo sa anatomy. Wala. Na-discuss. So I believe na you already have idea about this. Now we have here cells are organized into three main regions. We have the plasma membrane, the cytoplasm, and the nucleus. Now, ano yung plasma membrane? Anybody from the class? Naklase naman ninyo ni? Anybody? Herona. Ano yung idea mo about plasma membrane? Tapos? Yun lang. Sige, si plasma membrane ito. Si plasma membrane is the outer boundary of the cell. Siya yung outer layer of the cell. Now, this plasma membrane, siya yung nagpo-control kung ano yung papasok or lalabas sa cell. So that is, controls the enter and the leaves of the inside the cell. Now, it is also a selectively permeable membrane, diba? Usually, yan yung mga definition ni plasma membrane, selectively permeable membrane, outer boundary, and it controls the enter and the exit of the cell. And then it is made by ano yung phospholipids bilayer. So the plasma membrane is made up of phospholipids bilayer with proteins, cholesterol, and carbohydrates. And then next, we have cytoplasm. Anybody? Diaz. Cytoplasm. Anybody? Call a friend. Answer ka. Sige, very clear. Cytoplasm.
It is a part of the cell where organelles reside.
Yes, tama. So, cytoplasm, it is where the organelles are attached or reside. And also, it is a region between the plasma membrane and the nucleus. And then, it contains cytosol. So, cytosol, it is the gel-like fluid. And then, we have the organelles. So, yung mga organelles, yung mga endoplasmic reticulum, the mitochondria, the Golgi apparatus, yun yung mga organelles na naka-attach dun or dun naka-reside sa cytoplasm. And then, we have the nucleus. Anybody? Nucleus? It is the control center of the cell. And then it contains, it contains DNA, genetic material. Sige, next, we have the cell. Next, we have the cell cycle. Now, the cell cycle, it is the orderly sequence of events in which a somatic cell duplicates its content and divides into yung two daughter cells. Now, we have two major periods. We have the interphase, and the mitosis. Now, there are three stages or phases of interphase. We have the GAP1, the synthesis, and the synthesis phase, and then the GAP2. Now, in GAP1, ano yung mangyayari sa GAP1? Klaro ba? Sige. Sa GAP1, ano yung mangyayari kay GAP1? Sa GAP1, it is where the cell grows in size. Dila siya mag-grow in size. Produces proteins and organelles, perform normal metabolic activities, and then duplicates organelles, centrosome replication begins. So, yan yung mga mangyayari sa G1 phase. Now, during G1 phase, if merong mga cells na non-dividing, merong mga cells na defective, mag-exit siya dito papunta sa G0. Diba? May makita kayo sa gilid? Mag-exit yung mga non-dividing or yung mga cells na defective. Mag-exit siya sa G0. And then, after that, this G1 phase, it takes 8 to 10 hours. So, siya yung sa lahat ng phases, sa tatlong phases, siya yung pinakamatagal. It takes 8 to 10 hours to complete the phase. And then after that, it will proceed to the S phase or the synthesis phase. So it is where the DNA is replicated. Now it takes 8 hours to finish or to complete the process. And then after that, we have the GAP2 or the G2 phase. It is where the cell growth continues. And then enzyme and other proteins are synthesized, centrosome replication completed. Na-complete na yung process. And then it takes 4 to 6 hours. So ang pinakamatagal na process is anong pinakamatagal? Si GAP1. And then after is si synthesis phase and then si that, after the interphase, itong tatlo, sila yung interphase na period. And then after sa interphase na period, mag-follow si mitotic phase or si mitosis. Now, si mitotic phase, merong apat, yung PMAT. Ano yung mangyari sa prophase? Mag-condense yung chromosome. And then after sa prophase, we have the metaphase. Ano yung mangyari? Metaphase. Mag-line up yung mga chromosome sa equator. Mag-line up sila. And then after that, si anaphase. Ana, away. Ano man siya? Mag-separate sila into, asa sila mag-separate? Opposite poles. And then we have the telophase. Ano mangyari sa telophase? Mag-form ang nuclear envelope. And then after that, follow si cytokinesis. Si cytokinesis, it is the, ano si cytokinesis? Mag-division of cytoplasm. And then it will produce two identical daughter cells. Sige, timanan na siya ha. Next. Next, we have, tapos na, nasamit na, wala na magbasa ha. Next, we have control of the cell cycle. So, the control of the cell cycle, ang purpose ni control of the cell cycle is to ensure that the cell only divide when they are ready. Kung ready na siya ma-divide, kung correctly replicated ba siya, kung ang cell nag-grow na ba siya in its size na acceptable siya, or wala bang damage na cell, or kung wala bang damage or defective na mga cell. So, mag-divide lang si cell if ready na siya. Now, we have here the first control of the cell cycle is the cell cycle checkpoints. So, di ba pag mag-checkpoints, mag-stop na siya. Now, cell cycle checkpoints, it is to ensure that the mitotic event occur in the correct sequence. Now, we have here Now, we have here checkpoints. So, si checkpoints, ito yung mga specific points where the cell pauses. So, as you can observe, may mga stop. Di ba? Pag mag-checkpoint, pa-stop lang kayo, and then i-check kung ano yung meron sa tao, or ano yung meron sa cell. Now, there are three checkpoints. We have the G1 checkpoint, or the restriction point. So, si G1 checkpoint, dun siya mag-stop sa end ni G1. Dito siya mag-stop sa end ni G1. As you can observe, di ba si G1 and then merong stop. So, dyan niya i-check yung cell. If meron bang DNA damage, if yung adequate or enough ba yung nutrient na meron yung cell, if yung cell ba ay nag-grow siya in correct niya na size, and then meron bang mga growth signals. So yun yung bina-check sa G1 checkpoint. And then after that, bago pa siya makaproceed sa next na naman na phases. So sa synthesis na phase. Then after that, we have the G2 checkpoint. Si G2 checkpoint naman ensures, ito siya. Si G2 checkpoints naman, it ensures that the DNA is complete and accurate before siya mag-mitosis. Ito siya. Apoptosis checkpoint. So it is where i-check niya if ang DNA ba replication is complete na, if ready na ba siya mag-proceed sa mitosis or sa mitotic na phase. And then we have the M checkpoint or the spindle checkpoint. So during this phase, it ensures that all chromosomes are properly attached to the spindle fibers. Di ba sa spindle fibers, yan yung nag-a-attach sa mga chromosomes para ma-pull niya yung mga chromosomes to the opposite pole. Di ba? So yan yung M checkpoints. Na sometime, so yung thought ni checkpoints, siya yung mga poses or points of it is a specific points where the cells pauses to check the conditions of the cell before proceeding to the next phase. So that is the cell cycle checkpoints. Next we have number 2, cells obey an internal clock. So this means that the cells daw, naka-program na yan siya na mag-divide lang siya sa kana niyan na specific na mga number of times na pwede lang siya makadivide. So for example, we have here si mammalian cells, which is yung culture, naalang siya ay 40 to 60 times na pwede siya mag-divide. And then si connective cells, from fetus naman, we have 15 more times. And then si adult cells naman is 40 to 29 more times. So that means si cell daw is nakaprogram na sa iyaha kung when siya, until when lang siya pwede makadivide. So that is obeys internal clock. Na siya ay kaugalingon or nakaprogram na sa iyaha ang times, ang frequency when siya pwede mag-divide. And then we have here the telomeres, diba? Again, si telomeres, it is a protective cup at the end of the chromosome. So siya din yung parang siya din yung parang indication. Siya yung indication kung pila na lang ang na-remain na division. Pila na lang kung the more na nag-shorter or nag-shorten yung telomere, if pinakagamay na good siya, that means that is the indication na mag-stop na, hindi na siya mag-divide. So, kung too much small na si telomere, mag-signal na siya na mag-stop na, mag-senescence na siya, mag-stop na ang division. That is senescence. When we say senescence, mag-stop ang division. Senescence na siya. So at each mitosis, the telomeres lose 50 to 200 endpoints bases, gradually shortening the chromosome. So if mag-divide siya, the more na mag-divide siya, the more na magka-shorten ang telomere. And then once na sobrang nakagamay ang telomere, mag-stop na siya, mag-senescence na siya. Next, we have the external factors. We have letter A, crowding. From the word crowd, crowded. So if crowded na siya, can slow or halt mutation. Mag-stop ang mutation, mitosis. Mag-halt ang mitosis. So we have here, ito siya. Now, ito yung normal cell. Ito si normal cell. Meron cell adhesion. Diba? As you can observe, merong contact inhibition. Nagdikit-dikit yung mga cell. So that is normal. Now, if there is too much division, too much production of cell, magiging crowded siya. Mag-disrupt yung contact inhibition. Diba? As you can observe, nagpatong-patong na siya, crowded na siya. So it will lead to to a cancer. Pag ganyan siya, magkumpul-kumpul na siya and then it will result to a cancer cells. So, that is the external factors of the cell cycle. So, dapat lang jud na, that is why naka-program na sa mga cells na kung when lang siya pwede mag-divide, kasi if masobraan siya, it will lead to cancer. So, yun siya. Next, we have the hormones and growth factors, chemical signals that control the cell cycle from the outside. Now, we have here an example, the reproductive hormones. Si reproductive hormones, siya yung hormones from the brain that signals the uterine lining na to divide each month in preparation for a possible pregnancy. So, si hormones na sa ato ang brain, siya yung mag-signal kay uterine lining na mag-prepare na for a possible pregnancy. Kaya diba, every month, we have a menstruation, and then every month, bina-prepare po yung hormones, bina-prepare yung mga uterine lining for a possible pregnancy. And then we have the epidermal growth factors. So this stimulates skin cells beneath the scalp to divide and repair the wounds. So ito yung epidermal, yung if masamad ka, di ba, merong scab. Yung scab yung parang pugan, yung black na parang maghahigod siya. So that is scab. And then it will divide and repair a wound. So that is the indication na hapit na maayo ang imuhang samad. And then we have the proteins. So si proteins, cyclins, and kinases interacts inside the cell, activating the genes whose products carry out mitosis. So ito siya. So ito si cyclin. Si cyclin, siya yung case, siya yung susi para ma-turn on si CDK. Si CDK, it is a cyclin-dependent kinases. Cyclin-dependent kinases. So itong si CDK, siya yung engine. Siya yung engine para ma-turn on or ma-activate si cyclin CDK complex. And then, para maka-proceed sila sa cell cycle. So, yun yung mga external factors that is involved in the cell cycle. Next, we have the cell death. Cell death na naman tayo. Next, we have apoptosis, or it is apoptosis. So, according to our instructor sa college, pagbasa daw na siya kay apoptosis. Since silent daw ang T, it's because T ang nag-follow. So, apoptosis daw yun siya. Pero if para dili ko mga wrong spelling, i-apoptosis nyo na lang siya. Para dili mawala ang T. So, that is apoptosis or apoptosis. So, si apoptosis, it is a Greek word for leaves falling from a tree. So, ang etymology niya is si apo is away from. Si apo is meaning away from. And then si pitosis naman or cytosis, it is falling. So, if mo siya i-group together, falling away siya or much like leaves falling down from a tree. So, that is why in Greek word, leaves falling from a tree. So, yun siya. And then, now, you always remember na si apoptosis or si apoptosis, it is a genetically programmed cell death. Naka-program na siya na after niya ma-reach ang iyahang mga goals or ang iyahang function, matapos na niya ang iyahang cycle, it will die. Mag-program na siya sa cell death. Mamatay siya. It's because if dili siya mamatay, it will lead to a cancer. So that is why naka-program na sa cell na mamatay din siya. Now it is again a genetically programmed cell death as part of a normal development. Part na siya sa normal development na mamatay si cell. Now, si apoptosis is synchronized with the mitosis. So kung merong mitosis, napod si cell death or si apoptosis. Sabay na sila, synchronized na sila. Now, one example of this apoptosis is the sunburn. Now, we have here, so let's say for example, si cell na-reach na niya ang iyang function, tapos na siya sa iyang mga buluhaton, let's say for example, after that is si death receptor is mag-activate na yan siya. Once na ma-activate si death receptor, mag-activate na din si caspases. Si caspases, siya yung family of cysteine proteases. So si caspases, siya yung mag-destroy sa mga proteins. I-destroy niya yung mga proteins ni cell. And then, the cell indurates. When we say indurates, parang yung form ni cell is ma-change siya, maging wavy na siya. So as you can observe sa figure, naging wavy yung form ni cell. And then after that, it will degrade or it will disintegrate or broken siya into fragments. So as you can observe na broken siya into fragments and then it will form a blebs. So yung parang grapes siya, tingnan. So blebs yun siya. And then yung mga cell fragments, di ba, merong phagocytosis. Si phagocytosis or si phagocytes, siya yung mga nag-i-involve, siya yung mag-involve sa mga cell fragments. I-involve niya yung mga cell fragments. And then one example of this apoptosis is the sunburn peeling is an example of apoptosis. Next, we have the necrosis. Now, kung si apoptosis or si apoptosis kay programmed cell death, si necrosis naman, it is a premature cell death. Wala siya giplano ng cell death. Wala siya giplano, wala siya naka-plan na mamatay siya. Now, si necrosis, it is associated with inflammation. Mag-swell siya, As you can observe, diba, nag-swell siya, nagubag siya, na-inflammation sa iyaha. So that is necrosis. So that's the difference between apoptosis and necrosis. So we have here, ito yung normal cell. As you can observe, yan yung normal cell dito sa right. Now, sa apoptosis, meron tayong membrane blebbing. Ito yun siya. And then, the cell breaks apart into several apoptotic body, which are then phagocytosed and no inflammation. Wala lang inflammation si cell death. Diba? As you can observe sa mga sunburn, diba? Wala mang inflammation. Whereas sa necrosis naman, mag-swell si necrosis, si cell mag-swell. There is an inflammation. The plasma membrane ruptured, and the cellular and nuclear lysis causes inflammation. Ito siya. Nag-swell siya, and then the plasma membrane is ruptured na sira yung plasma membrane niya. Na-ruptured yung plasma membrane, and it causes inflammation. So ito yung example of a necrosis. Diba? Merong inflammation. Now, if you will differentiate apoptosis, diba? Si apoptosis kay programmed cell death, si necrosis kay premature cell death. And then, si necrosis is associated with inflammation, whereas si apoptosis naman is hindi siya associated with inflammation. So that's the difference between the necrosis and the apoptosis. Now we have here cancer, as what I had mentioned cancer is a profound derangement of the balance between cell division and cell death. So, dapat balance si cell death and si cell division. Kasi, if there is too much cell division, di ba, there is yung ma-disrupt ang iyahang contact inhibition, then it will cause to a cancer. Now, if sobra rapod ka infrequent ang cell death, that means dahil rapod gihapon kaayo yung mga cells, then it will lead to cancer pa rin. So that is cancer. It is a profound derangement of balance between cell division and cell death. Dapat balance si cell division and si cell death para dili magka-cancer. Next, we have stem cells. Now, si stem cells naman, ito yung undifferentiated. When we say undifferentiated, anong ibig sabihin ng undifferentiated? Wala pa siya na divide. So, meaning, whole pa din siya. Now, stem cells, you know, remember kay stem cells, it is undifferentiated and it has an ability to self-renew. When we say self-renew, maka-replicate siya, maka-duplicate iya iyahang self, ang iyahang kaugalingon. Now, we have again stem cells, undifferentiated cells, with remarkable ability to develop into specialized cell type. So, meron pa siyang ability na maka-generate ng another cell type because wala pa siya na-differentiate. Wala pa siya ni-adi o differentiation. Now, once na si stem cells mag-undergo ng differentiation, yung na-differentiate niya is magiging progenitor cells na siya. So, we have here first si stem cells and then si progenitor. Once na si stem cells mag-undergo ng differentiation, yung iyahang product is magiging progenitor cells. Now, si progenitor cells, if mag-specialize, if mag-differentiate na naman siya, and then it will be specialized into specific cells, then yun na yung mga specialized cells. So, for example, we have here ito. So, ito yung stem cells. Example is the hematopoietic stem cells. So, ito yung stem cells na makita sa mga bone marrow. So, hematopoietic stem cells. Now, ito si stem cells, di ba? It has an ability to self-renew. So, ito yung stem cells niya na iyahang self-renew, iyahang duplicate para dili mawala ang lineage, dili mawala ang stem cells. Now, we have here again stem cells, hematopoietic stem cells, iyahang self-renew. So, naalang ihapon si stem cells. Now, si stem cells, mag-undergo siya ng differentiation. Now, ang differentiation, meron na tayong progenitor cells. Yung partially differentiated, yung first niya na differentiate. Now, we have here, si progenitor cells naman, mag-undergo na po siya o differentiation. And that is, mahimo na siyang specialized, like mga erythrocytes, mga blood cells, white blood cells. So, yun yung mga specialized. Now, we have another example. So, for example, we have again sa yung same lang tayo kanina na example, mas i-data lang natin for example, si cells. And then, naano siya sa pinaka-specialized. So, yun na yung mga, di na siya pwede i-differentiate. Yun na talaga siya. Specialized cell na talaga siya. Like for example, we have the platelets and the erythrocytes. Na sometimes, again, stem cells, it is the undifferentiated cells. Si progenitor, siya yung partially na differentiate. Di ba, na-differentiate na siya, so partially differentiate from the stem cells. And has the potential, di ba, si progenitor cells, partially differentiated stem cells, and has the potential to differentiate into specific cell type. Pwede pa siya ma-differentiate into specific na cell. So, that is the difference between stem cells and progenitor cells. Next, we have the stem cells potency, developmental potential. Now, we have, makaro siya? So we have stem cells potency, the totipotent, siya yung pinakataas. So si totipotent potency can give rise to every cell type. Pwede daw siya maka-provide pa, or pwede pa siya mahimong another cell type. So we have here an example, si zygote. It's because daghan pa siya ng mga division, daghan pa siya ng mga differentiation ng mahitabo. There are 8 stages pa para maka-create siya ng entire organism. So, di ba? That is totipotent. Siya yung pinakataas pa. And then after that, we have the pluripotent. Si pluripotent can develop into almost any cell type. The all 3 germ layer. Di ba? Yung 3 germ layer, we have the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm. So, di ba silang tatlo, di ba, they will, mahimo pa sila ng mga organs, mga specific organs or specific cell. So, they are pluripotent. And embryonic stem cells from the blastocyst stage and can become any cell but not the whole organism. Makabuhat lang sila ng another cell pero dili ang whole na organism. Kasi ang whole organism si totipotent. And then we have the multipotent, siya yung pinakababa na. Can develop into a limited range of cells within a certain tissue or organ. And then we have an example, the hematopoietic stem cells, like the RBCs, the WBCs, and the platelets. Sila yung mga specialized. They are the specialized and tissue specific. So again, kung inyuha siyang i-rank, we have the totipotent, the pluripotent, and then the multipotent. Kasi si totipotent, maka-create siya ng whole organism. Si pluripotent, makaano na siya ng any body cell type. And then, but not the whole organism. And then, si multipotent kay specialized and tissue specific. So that is the difference between the stem cells potency. So we have again the sperm and the egg, magiging zygote siya, so that is totipotent. And then after that, we have totipotent embryonic stem cells, yung tatlong layer, the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm. Ito sila, it will become an organ, or it will become an organ. And then after that, we have the multipotent, which is yung mga specific cell type na siya. We have the skin cells, neuronal cell, the pigment cell, blood cell, muscle cell, and so on. Next, we have pathways to cell specialization. So ito yung discuss ko kanina na mga stem cells. So we have, di ba ito, we have a first fertilized egg, which is the zygote. And then si zygote, siya yung we have here the stem cells. So si stem cells, once na ma-differentiate na siya or ma-divide, meron na tayong progenitor cells. Na wala pa man siya na-specialize, so ang next niya, if mag-differentiate siya, progenitor cells pa rin siya. And then, hanggang sa meron na tayong specialized cell. So, maraming progenitor cells. We have progenitor cells. Wala pa siya na-differentiate, wala pa siya na-specialize. So, we have progenitors pa rin. And then, dito, progenitors pa rin siya hanggang sa magkakaroon ng specialized na mga tissue or cell. So, that is the pathways to cell specialization. Next, we have stem cells to develop treatments for a variety of diseases and injuries. Diba, sa mga, if you have a disease, merong iba na nag-undergo ng stem cells transplant, mga ganon, para ma-treat or ma-cure yung mga diseases nila through stem cells transplantation. Mag-induce sila ng mga specific cells para ma-treat or ma-cure yung mga specific na disease na meron kayo. And then we have stem cell sources, embryonic stem cells, inner cell mass of every early embryo, somatic cell, nuclear transfer into the egg cell. We have induced pluripotent stem cells. Ito yung mga genes or other chemicals reprogram somatic cell nucleus and no embryos required. And then we have the adult stem cells. Ito yung mga somatic cells that normally function as stem cells from any stage of development from the fertilized ovule through early. So ito yung mga stem cells cell type. Embryonic stem cells, induced pluripotent stem cells, and adult stem cells. Ito yung mga types of cell type. Next, we have the stem cells application. So marami na application ng stem cells. One of this are the drug discovery and development. We have observation of earliest sign of disease. And then we have creation of tissue and organs for the use of implants to study bone marrow transplant. And then we have the creation of iPS cells. iPS, this is the induced pluripotent stem cells. So yun siya. Yun yung mga application ni stem cells. And then, the last topic will be the human microbiome. Now, see, human microbiome, diba, it is the microorganisms or the organisms that live in and on another organisms. So, your habits, your experiences, your exposures to the environment will greatly influence the microbiome that you have in your body. Now, we have here the gut microbiome. As a gut microbiome ng isa ka persons or isa ka tao, there are 10 trillion bacteria help in digesting certain food. So yung mga gut microbiome, sila yung mga nag-help in the digestion of the food that we eat. Now, that is why it is advisable na mag-inom ng mga probiotics such as Yakult, mga Delight, mga Yogurt. So yun yung mga i-take ninyo para magkaroon ng mga madagdagan or magkaroon ng mga gut microbiome inside your digestive system because it greatly helps in the digestion of the food that we eat. And then we have probiotics. These are the live organisms such as bacteria, lactobacillus, and yeast that when ingested confer a health benefit. So we have here the fecal transplantation. So fecal transplantation, it is a treatment based on alternative fecal transplantation, from the word fecal, ano yan siya? Yung mga stool ninyo, di ba? Now, si fecal transplantation, it is a medical treatment daw yan siya. That involves transferring the stool. Yung stool mismo, for example, merong donor. For example, si Maria. Si Maria, siya healthy siya. Tapos yung stool niya is healthy din. And then, yung stool niya is i-transplant siya dun sa patient. Pero yung stool na yun is di-process yun siya. Bale, healthy na yun siya na stool, di-process na yun siya, nunuto siya na stool. And then, yun na stool is di-transfer or di-transplant siya dun sa patient. Kasi before tayo mag-continue, for example, merong patient na siya ginatake na antibiotic that kills the bacteria. So, kung mag-take ka ng mag-take ka ng antibiotic, that means mapatay itong mga bacteria. For example, yung mga gut microbiome, mamatay ko siya. Now, kung mamatay ang gut microbiome, wala na yung mag-help pag-digest sa imuhang food na ginakaon. Now, kailangan mo na fecal transplantation, in which, kapag i-mention ako kadalihan na ang stool ni Maria na naay mga gut microbiome, i-transplant ko siya sa patient para madagdagan or magkaroon ng gut microbiome or ma-replace na yung mga bacteria, ay ma-replace na yung mga namatay na bacteria na microbiome sa inyong digestive system. Kasi si fecal transplantation, all at once na siya, isa-isahang process na siya compared kung mag-inom ka lang ng probiotics. Kung mag-inom ka lang ng probiotics, mga isa-isa, duha-duha lang ang ma-add na mga gut microbiome sa inyong body. So if mag-fecal transplantation ka, so isahan na siya. So that fecal transplantation, it helps to restore the balanced gut microbiome. Ma-restore ang mga gut microbiome na ipatay ni antibiotic na inyong bitake. So you need a fecal transplantation. So that is about microbiome. Now this will serve as your reading assignment. Basahon lang ninyo siya kasi this will be this will be included sa inyong quiz. Ano lang din siya, mga facts lang siya about human microbiome. So no need to discuss na siya. So you have to understand na lang sa mga na-add rin na mga idea. So you can write this one. I-write ninyo para ma-remember ninyo siya. Then if you wala mo yung subject, naman yung masabtan, you can search and then because it will be included in your quiz next meeting. So next meeting, ang gagawin natin is mag-quiz first and then after that, mag-discuss na naman for the third topic. May nasabtan? Sige. If you have questions, sige, sumanin niyo ang mga questions. Na may questions? Kung wala may questions, ako yung mag-question. Wala may question? Nasabtan ba? Yes, ma'am. Sige, habang tayo sa quiz, nagmay na po mong score. Yes? Hindi siya makita? Ano na lang sa? Sige, sulat na ninyo para yun siguro wala nakabuot or nakalimot. Di ba na-discuss ko din yung bioremediation? Ano ganyan bioremediation? Di ba mag-use siya ng microorganisms para i-clean up ang pollutants na naa sa soil or sa groundwater. And then that bioremediation is an application sa metagenomics. Simple pa lang ganito na question. What if sa mga lisod-lisod na ba yung ako man nag-stop eh?